Good evening. This is the Tuesday, May 16th, 2023 meeting of the Senior Center Addition Feasibility Study Committee. This is our kickoff meeting, this meeting is in person at the Lakeville Senior Center on One Deer Crossing. Is anyone here recording the meeting other than Lakecam? Okay. Our first agenda item is introduction of the committee members. I'm Ari Sky, Town Administrator. Go on, Katie.
Katie Drozers, I'm representing the Finance Committee.
Nathan Dowling, Building Commissioner, Zoning Enforcement Officer.
Lori Fahey, COA Director.
Paul Nee, Facilities Manager.
Devani Boyajian, COA Board Member.
And Leah Fabian, Select Board Member, is unable to make it tonight. Next item on our agenda is discuss and possible vote to select a committee chair. Does anyone have a nomination, or do you want to defer?
We want to nominate Leah Fabian for chairman, chairperson.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, let's talk about the project background and objectives. I think what we ought to do is maybe, and I'll continue acting as the chair pro tem, I guess, for the time being until.
Do you want to appoint a vice chair, like with the other? Because if so, I would certainly nominate Ari Sky for vice chair.
Okay. Wow, we're rocking
that way we'll be
we're all
operating
fine.
functionally.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you for this humble opportunity. Okay. All right, so next item on the agenda is discussing the project background and objectives. I think, Lori, I'd like you to give a little historical background, and we can talk about where we're going from there.
Historical as far as when it started or the discussions
the concept,
of it?
Yeah.
The concept actually started with my predecessor, Kelly Howley. So the amount of seniors that are going to start coming into our demographics of 60 and older is growing. The numbers are going to just keep going and going for years to come. They're looking 10 years out, that they're going to be large numbers. And so she was looking for additional space to have additional programming. There's also availability to have meeting space. I know we've had need for that as well. So they had started it and COVID hit. And so everything kind of stopped at that point and didn't proceed any further. And then we just started speaking about it again. And when it was brought up to me as to what we need and what we'd be looking for, we are pretty much at max capacity now. If you look at our agenda of, our schedule of the calendars, we're pretty busy every day. There may be a day or two where we have a couple of hours of downtime. To be honest, those couple of hours of downtime are necessary once or twice a month for the staff and I to catch up on things, have meetings, get things finished that we've needed. But we have seniors coming to us looking for more activities, mostly like physical activities. They want more exercise classes. The ones we have now are full to capacity at 25 for each class, and that's what the instructors prefer. They don't want any more than that, just because they can't keep their eyes on everyone with more than 25 folks in the class. We do need some space. Our nurses station room, our veteran agent has been operating out of there for years now, and he'd like to get his own space. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he's kind of crowded into a small space. He makes do, but he could definitely use an office of his own. He could also have maybe a separate entrance of his own, so if we were closed and he just needed to come in and see veterans on a specific time, he could have a separate entrance. Food pantry, we desperately need a food pantry area. Right now we are sharing it with the custodial closet. And I'd really like to get a fitness room in there, because like I said, the group that's coming up is the younger seniors are starting to come in now versus, our older seniors, which we still definitely want to keep involved and cater to, but we want to cater to the full range of seniors. So space is definitely needed.
Good. So the initial study is being funded by a state earmark.
Yes.
We have
Yep.
funding to do that. We also have a number of contributions related to the LeBaron development that we've been accumulating over time to help fund whatever project we decide to do. Part of the objective of this study is to kind of assess based on the objectives, what we can afford to do, what we can't afford to do, and what this will look like in general for deciding whether to move forward, go to town meeting, and so on. So, to that end, we have George Figueredo here, who is with the town's on-call project manager, RTA. George prepared a proposal, which the select board has reviewed and is comfortable with, which will take us through the study. So George, why don't you talk a little bit about the study?
So basically what we'll be doing is evaluating the existing facility based on what the current needs are within the existing facility, and then obviously sitting with, Lori and whoever else will be part of the subcommittee to evaluate the needs that you just described, and to see, A, if we can incorporate that within the existing footprint, or possibly expand, the required spaces outside of the existing footprint. So we'll be working with our consultants to evaluate existing utilities, MEPs, mechanicals, electrical systems, to see what is currently in place, and based on the increased loads, for example, if we create a new fitness room, that's going to require possibly the expansion of the septic system, possibly adding restrooms, because the occupant load is going to exceed based on what was it originally designed for. So we'll basically kind of walk through current conditions and evaluate what the proposed conditions or wants and needs that the senior center would like, and then we'll basically incorporate that into some proposed plans that will kind of illustrate, what you currently have, what the proposed could look like, and then along with that, we will develop some initial costs to kind of coincide with what we're proposing, and along with documenting, some narratives on, mechanical systems. I mean, right now, I think everything here is existing from when the building was originally built, so it's reaching its lifespan. So there may be some needs to kind of, update some of those things. So those things will be identified within our reports that we would be providing the town as we kind of start walking through what is currently here.
Do you have a timeline in mind at this point?
So we would like to get, is there going to be a subcommittee that we'll meet with, or will it be the entire committee?
I think probably, let's talk to the group here. I mean, what do you all think? I think it'd probably be useful for George to meet with individual stakeholders on a need basis. Maybe come back periodically for meetings.
Yeah.
To check in on different steps along the way, unless you guys feel otherwise.
Yeah, it does seem to make sense that, you meet with like Lori and her staff and figure out what the needs are, come back and then summarize those meetings to the committee in a public forum so that we're able to disseminate the information.
Yeah, okay. And that's typically what's done. So I would say over the next 2 weeks, we'll set up a time to come out here with our consultants, and basically tour the entire facility, document existing conditions, mechanical units, electrical service, evaluate the septic. We're not going to do a Title V, but obviously we know what's there, and then meet with you and your staff to kind of go through what's currently here, and then obviously develop, the wants and needs that your program is calling for.
And overall, do you think it's a 3-month process, 6-month process?
Probably 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what I called out in my proposal. I'll verify that. But yeah, I mean, again,
You did.
yeah, I think what happens is, once we start meeting with the end users, we may have to come back and forth a couple times based on the program. But I think Lori has kind of been doing her homework, and I think you're pretty clear on what you want. So it may, speed up the process a little bit.
I think it would be helpful if we get to a point where we have sort of almost a menu of choices. Because I'm nearly positive that the resource requirement will potentially be much higher, could be much higher than we perhaps we're prepared to provide. We want to get important work done.
Yeah.
So it'll be very helpful, I think, if we have some different configurations we can look at that kind of,
Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll do that.
we're not gonna really know what that looks like until we do our assessment.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you know the building better than I do right now, but once we get in here, we'll understand if there's any, spaces that aren't being used to its fullest, that we can kind of modify. Based on my initial view and walkthrough with you, I think you're kind of, you're tight to
Yeah,
begin
we
with.
are.
So, you're more likely looking at an addition to kind of service the
Yeah.
additional program spaces that you're looking to add in. So, but we'll give you options. We'll take a look at, potentially adding a fitness room with some new restrooms, and we'll show you some different, potential schemes and layouts.
So I guess you're saying right now, your next step is you need some time to be able to.
To evaluate the existing conditions, meet with the staff, so we get a good understanding of how the space is currently being used, and then from that point, develop what the future needs are.
So when do you think you'd want to come back to the committee?
I'd say probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
if we can get out here, I'm hoping to get out here next week.
Okay, we'll make it work.
So,
All right, so
So
maybe
we
we
get
set
that
something up
going
for
quick.
3 weeks? Even 3
Yeah,
weeks?
yeah.
3 weeks or a month, something like that?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
If
Okay.
anything changes, I'll notify the committee, but that's our goal.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, that would be sometime in June.
Yeah.
Maybe, Lori, I don't know what you guys have going on in June.
Yeah, we're pretty busy in June.
Yeah, okay.
Do Tuesdays seem to work for everyone?
It's fine by me.
Yeah,
I can do every other, my select board meets Tuesdays, so it would just have to be
Which-
opposite ones,
which
second and
Tues-
fourth.
So like the 13th would be both for you.
Yeah, 13 and 27 are probably both for me in June.
Okay. That's actually true, because select board meets on the 12th and 26th, so there you go.
Perfect.
So maybe, well, 3 weeks would be, 3 weeks exactly would be the 6th. 5 weeks would be the 20th. So George, it's your call.
Let me just confirm with my consultants, so I
Okay,
can
we don't have to set it now, we can decide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all
We'll
right.
use it as a placeholder for
Just
that.
let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, does anyone else have any other business they want to discuss? No? Okay, I guess we're adjourned.